Imagine this. You're sitting inside your car during a stormy night, while rain crashes against the windows and the forest around you is completely silent. Your radio keeps cutting in and out with static. The road behind you is empty. Then suddenly, something scratches slowly across the side of your car. And when lightning flashes through the darkness, you realize someone has been standing beside your window the entire time. But before tonight's story begins, make absolutely sure every door and window around you is locked tightly. Because after hearing this legend, you might not want to look outside during the next storm. Version 1. The Lover's Lane Killer. I'm telling you a story my grandmother told me. A story that's been passed down in my family for generations. Listen carefully. It was the 1950s, a small town in rural America. The kind of place where everyone knew everyone's business. Where Friday nights meant cruising the strip, and where there was only one place teenagers went to be alone. Lover's Lane, a secluded dirt road at the edge of town, surrounded by dense forest on both sides. No streetlights, no houses, just darkness and the sound of crickets. My grandmother was 17 years old. She was dating a boy named Robert. Tall, handsome, everything a girl could want in the 1950s. He had a car, a blue Chevrolet, and one Friday night, he asked her if she wanted to go to Lover's Lane. She said yes. Now, before I continue, you need to understand what it was like back then. There was no cell phones, no way to call for help. If you went to that road, you were completely isolated from the world. As they drove, the radio crackled with a news bulletin. Authorities warned residents that Martin Hellsgate, a convicted murderer, has escaped from the state penitentiary. Hellsgate is considered extremely dangerous. He is missing his left hand, which was severed in prison. In its place, he wears a large iron hook. If you see this man, do not approach him. Contact authorities immediately. Robert laughed it off. Don't worry, babe. That guy's probably halfway across the state by now. But my grandmother felt uneasy. They parked at the end of Lover's Lane, at a spot hidden from the road by thick trees. Robert turned off the engine. The only sound was the wind through the branches and the occasional creak of the car. Robert started kissing her. My grandmother was nervous, but she was trying to relax. Then she heard it. Scratch, scratch, scratch. A sound like metal dragging across the car door. Did you hear that? My grandmother whispered. It's just a branch, Robert said, not pulling away from her. Scratch, scratch, scratch. The sound was more deliberate this time. Intentional. Robert, there's something outside. There's nothing out there, he said, but his voice had changed. He was nervous now, too. Screech. A long, horrible sound, like something sharp being dragged down the entire side of the car. My grandmother screamed. Start the car! Start the car! She was shouting. Robert, finally terrified, turned the key. The engine roared to life. He threw the car into reverse and pressed the accelerator. Branches whipped past them. The car bounced over the rough road. Robert didn't stop until they reached the main highway, until the downlights were visible. His hands were shaking. My grandmother was crying. Robert pulled over on the side of the road, and they sat there in silence for a moment, catching their breath. Then Robert said, "I'm going to check the car. Make sure nothing's damaged." He got out. My grandmother watched through the windshield as he walked around to the driver's side door. He froze. His face went white. He walked back to the window and gestured for my grandmother to look. On the door, gouged deep into the metal, were scratch marks. Long, deliberate gouges. But that wasn't what made her blood run cold. At the end of one of the scratches, caught in the door handle, was something metallic. An iron hook. Hell's Gate had been in the car the entire time. The police found him 3 days later, hiding in the woods near Lover's Lane. He had lost his hook in the struggle to get into the car, but he'd been planning to abduct my grandmother. The hook was preserved and put in the local police museum. My grandmother never went out with Robert again, but here's what she told me before she died. The scariest part wasn't finding the hook. It was that moment when Robert was checking the car. I realized if we hadn't started driving when we did, if Robert had started driving just 5 seconds later, he would have gotten into that car with us, and she would pause and look at me directly and say, "So when you go out with someone, when you're alone in a car, and you hear something outside, don't hesitate. Drive." Version 2. The Escaped Patient. This happened to my cousin. She swears every word is true. I'll tell you exactly what she told me. My cousin Sarah was 22 years old, smart, careful, the kind of person who locks her doors and checks over her shoulder in parking lots. But she was also a young woman in love. Her boyfriend, Marcus, had just gotten a new car, a nice sedan. And one Friday night, he picked her up from work and said, "Let's go for a drive, somewhere quiet, somewhere we can talk." They drove to a secluded overlook at the edge of the city, a popular spot for couples. Scenic, romantic. They were talking, sitting in the car, when Sarah's phone buzzed. She had a news alert. State psychiatric hospital reports. Patient escape. A patient has escaped from Riverside State Psychiatric Hospital. The patient, identified as David Corvus, is extremely violent and has a history of extreme aggression. He lost his dominant hand in a violent incident and now wears a custom prosthetic hook. He is considered a threat to society and should not be approached. Jesus, Marcus said, looking at the notification. Glad that's nowhere near here. But Sarah felt that familiar unease. Can we go? I don't like being out here. Come on, baby. We're fine. Look at this view. They sat for a few more minutes. Then Sarah heard it. A sound like metal scraping against stone. Marcus, did you... It's probably just an animal. Or the wind. But the sound came again. And again. and it was getting closer. Scrape, scrape, scrape. It sounded like it was circling the car. Marcus, I'm serious. Let's go. He started the engine. He was about to pull out when Sarah looked in the side mirror. In the dim light from the overlook's lamp, she saw a silhouette. A man, with one arm ending in what looked like a hook, raised up against a window. The figure's face was obscured by shadow, but she could feel him staring at her. Marcus didn't see it. What? What is it? Drive! Sarah screamed. Marcus punched the accelerator. The car shot forward, tires screeching. In the back window, Sarah watched the figure recede into the darkness. Marcus drove in silence, his knuckles white on the steering wheel. When they reached the main road, Sarah said, "Pull over, check the car." "For what?" "Just do it." Marcus pulled over at a gas station where there were lights and people. He got out and walked around the car. Sarah held her breath. Marcus came back, his face pale. "The door handle on your side. There's a scratch. A deep one, like something metal raked across it." Sarah got out and looked. The scratch ran from the door handle down to the middle of the door, about 15 inches long. Deep gouges in the metal, and caught in one of the scratches was a piece of something. It looked like... "That's rubber," Marcus said quietly. "From a prosthetic. That's where his hook caught." Corvus had grabbed the door handle while they were accelerating. They drove immediately to the police station. The police found Corvus the next morning, still on the overlook, searching the woods for something he'd lost. When Sarah told me this story, she said something that stuck with me. "You know what I realized? If we had been talking, if we had been distracted, if I hadn't looked in that mirror at that exact moment, he would have opened the door." "And then what?" I asked. Sarah didn't answer. She didn't have to. Version 3. Multiple victims. This is a story that comes from multiple police files, from multiple cases, all connected. Between 1985 and 2003, there were a series of unsolved attacks in a certain region. The attacks were never formally connected by authorities, but people who lived through them knew the truth. It was the same killer, the same man, the same hook. The first attack was in 1985. A couple parked on a rural road. The next morning, they were found. The man was unconscious. The woman was missing. On the door of their car was a message written in blood. "I'll be back for her." She was never found. In 1989, another couple. Same scenario. They heard scratching. They drove away. But the man had been wounded by the hook. He survived long enough to describe the attacker to police. He was tall. Impossibly tall. Maybe 7 feet. His face was wrong. Twisted. Like it had been broken and put back together incorrectly. And he had this hook. This enormous iron hook. He used it to try to pry open the car door. In 1993, a couple drove away in time, but the next day, they found a hook on their doorstep. A message was carved into it. You can't run forever. The man had a mental breakdown. He checked himself into a psychiatric hospital and never spoke about the incident again. In 1998, there was a particularly brutal attack. A couple didn't manage to escape in time. The man was killed. The woman was taken. Her body was found 3 weeks later in an abandoned warehouse. She had been. The police report didn't describe the details, but it said she had been tortured for an extended period before death. In 2001, someone did manage to wound the attacker. A young man fought back, managed to get a knife, and cut the killer's arm. The man bled heavily, but escaped. They found a trail of blood leading into the forest. It disappeared. The police launched an investigation. They brought in profilers. They searched the woods with dogs. They found nothing. But the attacks didn't stop. In 2003, there was a final attack. This one was different. A couple parked on Lover's Lane. Yes, that road kept coming up throughout all the attacks. The man heard scratching and started the car immediately. But this time, the killer didn't try to grab the door. Instead, he threw something through the windshield. It crashed through, showering glass everywhere. What he threw was a human foot, a freshly severed human foot. The couple drove away, screaming. When police arrived at the scene, they found a message written in blood on the road. Stop running, you can't hide. That was the last recorded attack. But here's what's strange. In 2005, a hunter found a tent in the deep woods, about 15 miles from where all the attacks had occurred. Inside the tent were supplies, clothes, and personal items belonging to at least 6 missing women. But there was no body, no killer. It was like he simply vanished. Local police have a theory. They believe he's still out there, still watching Lover's Lane, still waiting for the next couple brave or foolish enough to park there after dark. And here's the disturbing part. Every few years, someone will report finding a hook, just a hook, on their doorstep, on their car, in their mailbox. No context, no explanation. And the people who find these hooks, sometimes they just disappear. One woman in 2015 found a hook nailed to her front door. She called police to report it. The police took a report, but said there was nothing they could do. 3 days later, she vanished. Her son described how, the night before she disappeared, she kept saying she heard scratching outside the house. Scratch, 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 all night long. By morning, she was gone. Version 4. Present day. This story is being told from social media posts and messages. A girl documenting her experience in real time. Text conversation between friends. Amber, OMG. Jake just asked me to go to the lake tonight. He actually asked me out. Amber, I've been waiting for this since forever. He's so hot, Maya. Girl, you better not do anything stupid, Amber. What do you mean, stupid? It's just a date, Maya. Don't go to isolated places at night. My grandma literally told me about some killer with a hook hand who goes after couples. It's like a real thing, Amber. LMR, that's so fake. It's like an urban legend. Maya. Actually, urban legends come from somewhere. Later that night, Amber's Instagram story. A photo of Amber in her car, freshly showered, makeup perfect. Caption, road trip with Jake. A video of Jake driving, the sun setting in the background. Amber's voice. This is so romantic. Another video, they're parked at a lake overlook. Jake is kissing her neck. Amber is laughing. Caption, he's the sweetest. Text messages, 9:47 p.m. Amber, OMG, something creepy just happened. Amber, we heard this sound outside the car, like something scratching metal. Amber, Jake said it was probably just a tree branch, but I don't think so. Maya, where are you? Are you safe? Amber, we're still at the lake. Amber, Jake says we should leave, 9:53 p.m. Amber, wait Amber, something is on the windshield. Amber, there's a hand. Amber, oh my god, there's a hand on the windshield. Amber, it only has 4 fingers and it's attached to like metal or something. Maya, get out of there now. 9:54 p.m. No response. 9:58 p.m. Police report filed by Jake's friend, who was following them. Officers responded to a location near Crystal Lake at 10:03 p.m. Found a vehicle with windshield damage. The driver, Jake Morrison, was in the vehicle, injured but conscious. The passenger, Amber Chen, was missing. On the windshield, written in blood, were the words, yours now. Social media, next day, news update. Missing girl, Amber Chen, 17, last seen at Crystal Lake. Police ask for any information regarding her whereabouts. A man matching the description of a tall figure with a prosthetic arm has been reported in the area. Comments from classmates. Tyler, dude, Amber was literally just with us yesterday at school. This is so messed up, Jessica. I told her not to go out at night. Everyone knows about the hook man, Devon. Wait, is this like actually real? I thought that was just a story Mrs. Patterson teacher. This is a tragedy. Amber was a bright student. Please be safe, everyone. Don't go to isolated places, especially at night. Private messages, Maya and Amber's mom. Maya, I'm so sorry. I should have been more serious when I warned her. If she had just listened. Mrs. Chen, this is not your fault, honey. This is the fault of whoever took my daughter. Maya, do they know who it is? Mrs. Chen, no. But the police found something on Amber's phone. A photo. She must have taken it right before. Right before. Maya, what was the photo? Mrs. Chen, it was the windshield from inside the car, and outside you could see him, the figure. His face was pressed against the glass, and his hand, his hook, was inches from breaking through. Maya, oh my god, Mrs. Chen. But that's not the worst part. On the photo, there's text written in reverse, like he wrote something on the glass from the outside, and Amber captured it. Maya, what did it say? Mrs. Chen, see you soon. 6 months later. Maya receives a package with no return address. Inside the package, a hook, shiny, new, with a note attached for your friend. He, version 5, the one who got away. I'm a police officer with 25 years on the force. I'm telling you something I've never told anyone. In 2001, I was a patrol officer, working the night shift. Young, eager to prove myself. I didn't believe in urban legends or campfire stories. I believed in facts, evidence, things I could see and touch. One night, I got a call. A couple had reported an incident at Lover's Lane. They said they heard scratching on their car. They said something tried to get inside. I went to investigate. When I arrived, I found the couple's vehicle parked on the side of the road. The man was still there, nervous, waiting for police. The women wanted to go home. I asked them to describe what happened. They told me about the scratching sounds, about hearing something outside the car, about feeling watched. The man showed me the door. There were marks, deep scratches in the metal, gouges that looked like they were made by something sharp. Probably just a branch, I said, trying to calm them down. Nothing to worry about. There's no one out here. But even as I said it, I felt something. A presence. Something in the darkness of the woods. I told them to go home and file a report at the station. As they drove away, I stood in the darkness of Lover's Lane, and I heard it. Scratch, 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 coming from the woods. At first, I thought it was an animal, but it was too deliberate, too intentional. I turned on my flashlight and pointed it toward the sound. This is the police. Identify yourself. The scratching stopped. There was silence. Just the wind in the trees and the sound of my own breathing. Then I saw him. He stepped out from between two trees into the beam of my flashlight. The figure was impossibly tall, at least 7 feet. His frame was gaunt, skeletal. His clothing was old, tattered, like it hadn't been washed in years. And his face was wrong. It was pale, almost white, with deep-set eyes that caught my flashlight beam and reflected it back like an animal's. His left arm ended in what looked like a large iron hook, rusted and dull. "Officer," he said, his voice a rasp like gravel. "What brings you to my lane?" "I need you to identify yourself," I said, my hand moving to my service weapon. He tilted his head, studying me. "You don't know who I am?" he asked. And then it hit me. The stories, the legends, the thing my mother had warned me about as a child. "You're not real," I said. He smiled. It was a smile that revealed teeth that had been filed sharp. Or maybe that's just what my mind told me they looked like. I might have been in shock. "Oh, but I am, officer. I'm very real. I'm the reason lovers come to this place. I'm the shadow they feel watching them. I'm the sound in the dark." He took a step toward me. I drew my weapon. "Don't move. Hands where I can see them." "I can't," he said, raising his right hand, but leaving the left. the one with the hook at his side. Is this a problem? He took another step forward. I'm warning you, I shouted. Stop. You're young, he said, ignoring my commands. You probably have a wife, maybe kids. They wait at home for you, hoping you come back safe each night. How do you know anything about me? I demanded. Because I see them, officer. I see all the people who hide in this lane. I see them as clearly as you're seeing me right now. Another step. Stop. Now. I fired a warning shot into the air. The sound echoed through the woods. He paused. You have the capability to harm me, he said, nodding. But will you? And in that moment, I realized something. Something that still haunts me to this day. I couldn't see him clearly enough to shoot him. Not without hitting him by accident and causing a serious wound. And I couldn't justify shooting someone who was simply standing there, even if they were advancing on me. He was exploiting the exact laws that governed my ability to use force. He took another step. I fired again, this time at his leg. The bullet passed right through him. No blood, no wound, no reaction. It was like shooting through smoke. He kept walking toward me. I fired again, and again. The bullets passed through his body, as if it wasn't even there. I emptied my clip. He was now 10 feet away. You understand now, he said. This is my place. These are my people. You can't stop me. No one can. He raised his hook, and I ran. I turned and ran back to my patrol car without looking back. I could hear him behind me, his footsteps deliberately slow, like he was toying with me. I got to my car, locked the doors, and drove away. In my rearview mirror, I could see him standing in the middle of the road, watching my car disappear. I reported the incident to my sergeant. I said I saw a suspect matching the description of an escaped psychiatric patient. I said I fired on him, but he ran into the woods. A search was organized. K9 units, other officers. We searched for 3 hours. We found nothing. No body. No evidence of anyone. No blood where my bullets should have struck. My sergeant suggested I see a therapist. Said maybe I was experiencing stress hallucinations. I never told him the truth. That I'd shot a ghost. That I'd encountered something that couldn't be harmed by conventional means. That night, I went home and hugged my wife. I kissed my kids, and I never went back to Lover's Lane. But I still remember those eyes, that smile, that hook raised in the darkness. And sometimes, when I'm alone, I hear it. Scratch, scratch, scratch. Not outside, but inside my head. And I know he's still out there, still in that lane, still waiting for the next couple brave enough to go there. And he's waiting for me too, because once you've seen him, once you've looked into his eyes, he owns a piece of your soul. He'll keep scratching at the door of your mind until the day you die. That's why I'm telling you this story. That's why I'm warning you. If you ever find yourself on a road that seems to stretch too long, if you hear scratching on your car, if you see a figure in the darkness with a raised hook. Don't run, because he likes the chase. Just pray. Just pray that your car is faster than his footsteps.